last stage, and we are very happy to have them with us. BearingPoint from Switzerland. His case study presentation is going to be on data-driven sustainability. So please stay with us. If you have questions, do type it down. In case we have time, Thomas will be replying your questions. Otherwise, please do join this LinkedIn group, which we made for participants of this summit, 270 people. There you can follow up with questions. So Thomas, microphone is yours now. Start, please.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see my screen in full mode.
Yes.
So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our presentation on data-driven sustainability. My name is Tomas Chroust, and I'm leading our data analytics and AI practice at BearingPoint. I will talk about this very interesting topic that is affecting all of us. Let me briefly introduce myself. As a cross-industry technology partner with a focus on data analytics and AI, I have had the pleasure to work on a variety of mandates around data analytics, and in particular, having always the focus on generating business value and insights through fact-based decision-making process. In the course of the presentation, you will see that the topic data-driven in particular, in the context of sustainability, is still quite a challenge for us. So I segmented our presentation in 4 chapters. Shortly, I will very briefly introduce how we work and how we actually approach the topic on data-driven sustainability. Then I will briefly introduce you some context and key value drivers for the topic, and also how we tackle the challenges in a holistic data-driven approach. So we are an independent partner-owned management technology company focusing on innovative solutions for our clients, covering strategic ambitions and digital transformation journeys. With almost more than 5,000 people, we are not only supporting and advising our clients in 78 countries, but also co-creating jointly IPs and assets with and for our clients. In the particular area of sustainability, we are supporting our clients by offering an end-to-end approach, leveraging our industry expertise and technology depth. In our operating model, we are covering managed services, advisory, and consulting, but also offer SaaS-based solutions for our clients. Amongst others, we support the world's largest sports brand and largest furniture company with realizing their sustainability ambitions. In order to meet strategic objectives for sustainability goals, we help our clients in setting up their sustainability programs. In those initiatives, typically we are covering business-specific processes and challenges, technology requirements, and data analytics insights. In our own BearingPoint Institute report, we regularly publish and share thought leadership with industry-specific deep dives. So over the past 10 years, few topics have gained as much focus in corporate boardrooms across the world as sustainability. Guided by the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, businesses have been committing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, eliminate slave labor, provide decent work conditions, limit plastics, conserve water used in production, tap into renewable energy sources, and more. Over the past several months, with COVID crisis spreading across the world, few concepts attracted as much attention among business leaders as resilience. The good news is that sustainability and resilience go hand in hand. Businesses that have adopted sustainability practices will also find it easier to prevail in difficult times. So I will give you also a few examples why sustainability is a competitive factor. We start with innovation. You have heard about examples on building resource-efficient facilities and smart cities, creating robotic bees, simple installation of supermarket herb gardens, or autonomous solar balloons bringing electricity to disaster zones, and many more. These are just few examples where you can see that new businesses are being created. When you deploy sustainability measures and monitoring system, you may achieve also better risk mitigation and improved resilience, since you have more understanding on the impacts within your supply chain. So What are the potential benefits for businesses by creating insights on sustainability? First of all, since there is a common pattern that the sustainable marketed products are growing almost 6 times faster than conventionally marketed products, the revenue increase is being derived from increased brand and product value. Another major factor is obviously the cost decrease, with multiple savings levels around energy bill of facilities, manual carbon calculations, reduced buying price of old labeled products, reduced rates on investment capital, and being prepared for future governmental regulations. Since many of the companies are already investing heavily in their sustainability transparency, the need for providing measures in the ecosystem becomes an ultimate driver as well. So nowadays, the companies are focusing their strengths on sustainability reporting in the light of CSR and less in terms of supply chain aspects. This has certainly to deal with the fact that the process of establishing a thorough measuring and monitoring system or platform around the supply chain reveals many challenges. But in order to tackle these, you need to have extensive monitoring capabilities in place. It is not enough to apply the estimates anymore. The technology capabilities and data sets around the supply chain have evolved dramatically, from streaming of IoT RFID sensor chips to high valuable and predictive dashboards. Nowadays, every operational manager can act on in real time. So where do we start around elaborating on the challenges? Already in 2015, the UN defined 17 Sustainable Development Goals to achieve in 2030. Those were factors around environmental, social, and corporate governance measures. So the spectrum of measurement is quite broad and not as sharp for determining right and proper data sources. Thorough definitions on KPIs and data curation and provisioning frameworks need to be in place in order to have a fact-based and continuous performance monitoring in place. As we see in practice, many companies started with numerous assessments and questionnaires that are not consistently applied over several dimensions, such as first, second, and third tier suppliers sharing the data on the code of conduct, suppliers audits, standards, certifications, due diligence reports, and also environmental impact assessments, and so on. So from a data challenge point of view, where do we see issues in measuring, monitoring sustainability aspects? For instance, many times there is a lack of granular data for measuring indirect emissions on a variety of information dimensions, such as product level, production factory, machine. Another fact is multiplying complexity is data heterogeneity, where different taxonomies and data standards are existing. Therefore, the need for proper data governance and data management becomes prevalent. If you have ever experienced integration challenges within your own company boundaries, then the data management challenges are exploding when you need to integrate and link up siloed second and third tier suppliers' data sources. Data quality, time validity, and also important aspects to get addressed as well. In terms of ESG reporting standards, it is also not as simple as it could be. Therefore, you need to consider various metric definitions, since there is not a unique global standard, unfortunately. So carbon is embedded in every aspect of supply chain. After you have understood how carbon is embedded into your value chain, you may decide to segment work on one or more of the supply chain areas, namely sourcing and procurement, manufacturing, logistics, disposal, or customer channels. Based on these areas, you will have to select the right set of goals and KPIs to drive performance. As highlighted here in this supply chain, a company could pick up specific actions under each of these stages supply chain to reduce its carbon footprint. For example, low carbon product design have an impact of all through the chain. Similarly, suppliers of greenhouse gas intensive products will play an important role in reducing emissions for that product's value chain. Products which are very energy intensive in manufacturing are playing an important role. For substances like paints and adhesives, application to the product is an energy intensive, and any company who would want to address end-to-end greenhouse gas emissions in supply chain will have to work closely with customers to achieve an impact. We are also observing that companies are considering environmental factors in their tactical and strategic planning. For example, understanding climate change related risk and how it is going to have an impact on the oil feedstock supply chain could be a significant input for strategic planning. Understanding the short-term impact of impending weather events could be leveraged for tactical logistics planning as well. So how are we at BearingPoint tackling the challenge of making relevant data available for monitoring and measuring purpose? First, you need to collect all your own already existing environmental, social, and corporate governance data and imply goals to establish going forward missing data elements. This would also cover suppliers' data and third-party logistics data. More and more, it's relevant to also consider especially open data sets or additional sources from data aggregators, as well as from testing and certification companies such as TÜV or SGS. Also, we at BearingPoint, we are starting to enrich and curate certain data sets since we also provide our own emission calculator, which I will talk later a little bit. So having the layered data approach enabled, your calculations are based on the most granular data available. By processing large amounts of activity-based data, you gain detailed insights on supply chain hotspots where your sustainability goals need to be improved. Surely, you need to have a wide range of fallback options for missing data in the integrated system. So as already briefly described in the introduction, we are providing a SaaS-based emission calculator platform that can deal with a variety of data sources and different granularities, and the platform is complying to existing reporting standards. In this way, you are able to execute your product carbon footprint from cradle to grave, capturing raw materials acquisition, production, warehousing, and distribution to the use of the products and also the demolition. So few use cases that I would like to mention. So if you are having several plants producing the same product, you would like to understand in detail why the emission for plant A is higher than the plant B. And what are the drivers for this difference? Is it purely the distance to the supplier, production inefficiencies, or distance to the market? In order to answer those questions, you need to have a fairly granular data. The second use case, you make the transparency on the product level for the consumer so that the consumer is able to make a conscious buying decision by being informed about the respective emission. And in the third use case, you would like to simulate new measures to determine the impact of a supply chain amendment before you implement it. So for instance, what is the impact if you deploy e-trucks in your logistics and last mile distribution? Those were just few examples that have been already successfully deployed, so the journey can go on. Just to summarize our recommendation to deploy a data-driven sustainability. You need to leverage a modular, adaptable data platform with a capability to provide complete insights in the full value chain. It is necessary to deal with different data granularities and use the most accurate one that is available. There should be a strong analytical capability embedded in the platform so that you can monitor and react in near time. Important aspect to consider is also to be compliant and in line with greenhouse gas protocol calculation and science-based targets. Ideally, a digital process twin will enable you to simulate new initiatives around sustainability in your supply chain. Thank you very much for your time, and please come back to me if you are interested in further details. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Thomas, for the presentation. I'm just looking forward to seeing some challenging questions from the participants that we can give them microphone. Hopefully we have still 5 minutes. So let's see, you can stop sharing the screen so that we